The U.S. military says this compound near the Syrian-Iraqi border was used to transfer weapons to militias attacking American troops. Until overnight, when the U.S. struck back. The Pentagon says 3 locations were targeted in Iraq and Syria. This month, militias in Iraq paraded what appeared to be new drones, likely supplied by Iran. The militias have been getting more sophisticated, dive bombing the drones with small explosives onto Iraqi bases housing American personnel, evading defenses. It was the second time President Biden has ordered a strike in his presidency.
We took necessary, appropriate, deliberate action that is designed to limit the risk of escalation, but also to send a clear and unambiguous deterrent message.
This month, Iran elected a new hardline president. The Biden administration is telling him the U.S. can negotiate with Iran and fight the militants it backs. Around 2,500 U.S. troops remain in Iraq. The Pentagon says the airstrikes were designed to protect them. But it seems the militias responded, firing on U.S. troops across the border in Syria. No one was killed. The military says it's still assessing the situation.
All right, Shalom. This is
Marcus, I think, is way ahead of where I was at 23. I was still trying to figure it out.
For me, being in
Slakia. All right, Shalom. I'd like to start out by saying Ka Halayim La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harikak Wadash Ma'amah. Double honors to the elder apostles, the great millstone, and my elder Heroine as well. Salutations to the Akim that are pushing the truth, the sincerity, and truth. And peace and blessing to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. All right, this is a quick hitter on the situation over there in the Middle East. And I just seen earlier a notification that the elder Harold Warner did a lesson on this very same topic. So that's just spirit, you know what I'm saying? Kahalayim la Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. But basically, what led me to this article, it was a news clipping that said that nations are getting tired of America's liberally bombing other nations, something to that effect. And that's exactly what's going on. America, everybody's getting tired of America and they're bullying bullcrap, you know. So this particular article says Biden's defense of new airstrikes in Iraq and Syria is weak. All right, so basically they're saying Biden wanting to Biden promoting these wars, his excuse for doing it is kind of weak, you know. I had the liberty of listening to Elder Harold Wan's video, and it said basically he was just talking about how, you know, the different ways they do it. They did it according for democracy and Christianity, and now this says this is a necessary evil, which the rest of the world is not seeing it that way. And then that's Satan being divided against itself because Congress is against these actions that Joe Biden is taking. They're thinking they're feeling like he's been a little bit too aggressive, and in his actions, and by bypassing Congress without a vote and doing these provocations of war. All right, so this article starts with it says the United States launched airstrikes on another country's soil this week. Again, according to the Pentagon, the defense precision strikes hit their target in Iraq and Syria. Great victory, huge success. Everyone surged and goes about their day. Had almost any other country in the world fired missiles outside its borders, it would have been a crisis. All right. It says here it was Sunday. It says the U.S. government is basically allowed to conduct military operations on autopilot with the slightest oversight and accountability. So basically, these other countries are getting upset because America does these provocations of war and airstrikes on these different countries, and nobody says anything about it. You know, there's certain things that you have to go through in order to do these warlike acts because they have treaties and things like that in place, right, to protect other countries from doing things like that. But America goes beyond that and breaks treaties and breaks decrees and does whatever they feel like they need to do in order to claim freedom and democracy. That's what they hide behind, freedom and democracy and liberty. All right. It says it bears pointing out that this is not a great it's not a great way for a country to handle matters of war and death, especially not the most powerful country in the world, right? Because America has a lot of blood on their hands, man. America has a lot of innocent blood on their hands for they to just bomb in all these different countries, not caring about civilians or anything like that. All right. It says, and especially not a country that espouses the power of democracy. All right, espouses the power of democracy. The United States government is basically allowed to conduct military operations on autopilot with only the slightest oversight and accountability. And while Congress has finally moved to do the bare minimum to curtail the White House ability to conduct private wars, there's no sign that the executive branch is willing to dismantle the system that made these strikes a casual affair. The aerial attacks were against facilities used by Iran-backed militia groups in the Iraq-Syria border region. Pentagon spokesperson John Kirby stated, "Honestly, the who and what of the attack are almost secondary in the case because it bears almost no impact on the how of the matter." Which is to say, how is it that the Biden administration has the authority to fire off missiles without there being a deep or debate in Congress or among Americans? All right, so how like nobody's doing this? Nobody. I remember during the Vietnam War how the people of America protested against the war, but nobody's protesting the things that America is doing right now, bombing these other nations. All right, it says Kirby offered up two defenses of the legality of the strikes in his statement. As a matter of international law, the United States acted pursuant to its right of self-defense. The strikes were both necessary to address the threat and appropriately limited in scope. As a matter of domestic law, the president took this action pursuant to his Article 2 authority to protect United States personnel in Iraq. And the elder went into that a little bit on his lesson also. So basically, so the executive branch is going against the you got the executive, you got the judicial branch, and you got the legislative branch who makes the law. So they're going against Congress and pulling their strings to show their powers and flex their muscles and showing division within America. All right. It says, let's unpack that some starting with the international law defense. It's true that under Article 51 of the United Nations Charter, states have a right to protect themselves against aggression. And it is also true that the militias targeted have allegedly been using small drones carrying explosives to dive bomb bases in Iraq in the last few months, including some where U.S. forces operate. That's troubling development, but here's where the real problem lies. First, while Article 51 has been a favorite justification from the United States for its military strikes, it's debatable whether the clause was meant to allow the protecting troops-based areas instead of activity directly on UN member states. Second, there wasn't an attack occurring when the self-defense strike was launched, or even immediately preceding the airstrike. The militias in question did, however, launch a retaliatory attack against United States forces based in Syria on Monday, which prompt returned artillery fire from the U.S. So America will provoke the situation, and then when the militia will respond to the situation, then America will say they're operating in self-defense when they're the ones that were provocating in the first place. All right? So going on to the third part of this article, it says, it's striking to me, pun unintended, that the Pentagon wouldn't cite that until recently would have been the likely best legal justification for the attack. The third and most important, Iraq, the sovereign country that has in theory been the one actually under attack in those drone bombings, says that the United States was out of pocket Sunday. They say they're out of pocket. They're using street terms, man. They say that hoe was out of pocket because America being the great whore, man. She's out of pocket. It says the strikes were a blatant and unacceptable violation of Iraq's sovereignty and national security. So it's happening on Iraqi soil, and Iraq is not even for the shit, and it's happening on their soil. But United States is trying to use that as justification on bombing these areas. All right. It says, according to a statement from the military spokesperson for Iraq, Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kadhimi, there are definitely domestic and international political reasons for Kadhimi to go hard on Biden right now, including not wanting to aggravate Iraqi political parties that have Tehran's backing, and their larger neighbor just elected a new hardline president, so it is an opportune moment to curry favor with the new leadership. But it doesn't exactly help justify Biden's decision. All right. So I'm not going to read all this article. There's a bunch of meat in there. I'll probably put the link to this article in the description box, but I was just giving you a kind of a heads up. Everybody knows that, like America's been fighting a bunch of proxy wars against Iran and against Russia and against Syria using Israel, you know. So but they feel like they have just sending these troops and bombing these other places without a real justifiable cause. But they're just saying that they just want to say they're doing it in the name of America and in the name of democracy. But all these other nations are getting tired of doing that, are getting tired of being at the butt end of the stuff. And they're like, nobody's stepping in to intervene and call America out on their bullshit, you know? But at one point in time, this place is going to, at a point in time, and that time is coming very soon, Yahweh Shimi Shai is going to use these other nations to destroy America, man. So I just want to get one scripture dealing with that. All right, this is Jeremiah 51:1. Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind. And that's talking about the missiles that's going to hit this place and destroy this place. And I will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her and shall empty her land. For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. And that's all these other nations rising up against um, uh, against America, going to war against America, all right, and destroying this place ultimately with the missiles, all right. So they're going to continue to have the fire increase on this place until this place is completely consumed. All right. With that being said, like Sekah Halayim La Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Harukah Kodash Ma'amah. Double honors to the elder apostles, a great millstone, and my elder Herawan as well. Salutations to the Akim that are pushing the truth, the sincerity, and truth. And peace and blessing to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh Shai. Shalom.